Welcome to another session of Leon Live. A few months ago, not even a few months ago, a few weeks ago, I had dinner with the industry legend, Jeremy Glowacki from Residential Tech. And it is Residential Tech today. And I realized not only is he like super smart, but he's actually like a human being too. I thought he's this incredible writer and representative of our industry, but I love learning about you, Jeremy, your family, your travels, and the things that you were doing, and realized that I watched you do an interview with a good friend and thought to myself, wow, does Jeremy ever get interviewed? Like what Jeremy thinks. And so we wanted to have you on a Leon Live today to really just explore some of your thoughts about the industry.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's kind of my personal nightmare to be on the other side of the interview.
Am I the first one that's done this?
Well, it may be in this kind of context where you're really asking me questions that are open-ended, but I do a Resi Week podcast every now and then with AV Nation, and they ask questions about stories in the news. So we have a little time to think about our smart answers and pretend like we thought it up just on the spot. But something like this where I have to actually put a little critical thought into something from, maybe left field, I'm not really that comfortable with. So bear with me.
But yeah, welcome to discomfort.
Yeah. I realize the pain I'm putting my guests through now.
So I want you to go back to dinner. We're just sitting at dinner. We're breaking bread. We're just having a conversation, just like we did.
Yeah.
And so my question really relates to, we've been talking a lot, certainly at Leon, we're very fascinated with the advent of aesthetic and design and architecture and its intersection with technology. We think there's some really great stories over the last 100 years of evolution. And the CI dealer faces a unique challenge, not only now, but has always faced the challenge of creating its relevance, with those engagements. So what I'd love to just get your perspective on is just general observations and trends you see that a CI dealer is facing with regards to creating relevance with their interior designers, their architects, their builders. Where are people getting it right, and maybe where are they not doing so well?
Yeah, I think about what our industry really represents. And over the years, it's been, the guy that does the home theater, and they did some really amazing, huge, really recreating like a movie palace type of theaters. That sort of went by the wayside. There's still those out there, but you're talking really about integration in the blending of technology into a home. And the ones that are the most successful that I talk to are the ones that do have that collaborative relationship with a designer, or maybe it's an architect or the builder, that find a way to provide solutions for the homeowner to make their life easier, better, without it really sort of jumping out and being in your face as this is the technology part of the home. It right now, the big trend, and you've heard all about this too, is sort of finding a way into the lighting business, the lighting fixture business.
Yeah.
And that kind of gets right in there with the interior designer, right in there with maybe a lighting designer, but the design build team. And I think that's kind of where we're headed with the success of the CI channel.
Yeah.
But when you have good control of the lighting, you have good control of the entertainment that works consistently, that blends in, it's harmonious with what would be a luxury home, because really our channel is a luxury business. It's not typically that middle ground, DIY side of it. So we need to find a way to keep everything elegant. And that's, I know this isn't about Leon, but I think that's what, so much of hiding the TV and all that business and the speakers around the TV are making it part of the design. That's really kind of a key. And obviously Samsung frame and all that coming along and making the TV not a big block on the wall, big black box on the wall.
Yeah.
Those are the trends from the CE and CI space that I think are important right now in design.
I think I love the way that you described it as a blended competency on the part of the CI dealer. Is they have to be aware of aesthetic. It doesn't mean they have to be an interior designer. And then this idea of there's lots of products, and lighting is providing a great way to increase relevance because the technology has created the medium that these designers are using, lighting designers, but also interior designers are really leaning into it, and they want. We just leaned into our first lighting product, our lighting fixture, and I think that has exposed us to yet a new level of relevance, that people need to explore. When you are you look at the tech and you look at the trends in the business, you said that, hey, people who are embracing lighting in particular are really capturing this. What's your outlook, into the future? Just generically speaking, say, 5 years from now, looking backwards, what kinds of things, should we be expecting, to really impact that CI dealer's business?
Yeah, well, I think we're just in the early stages of even that lighting category. So many, there are, those who have been doing it for even 10 years now, which is crazy because it just seems like a brand new category, but for the space anyway, with LED. But I think we've got a long way to go to develop that even as a trend. But if you look 5 years ahead, you talk about the grid issues with power, and so power management and trying to help homeowners keep up with those issues with consistent power in their home. And if you're having the network issues that are related to power, you want to fix those. So we're all obviously connected to the internet, and the kind of reliability of a network, whether that's through the actual IT side of it or the power part of it, all of that's essential. So it's the infrastructure of the technology there. But you hear about power being kind of the next one out there. And I think there's a lot to learn there. And maybe it's alternative energy sources like the solar and the blending of all of that. That's hard. That's not something you hire. If you do make a commitment in some states like California, you kind of have to. But if you make a commitment to do solar, then you have to do the whole battery storage part of it. And when it switches off and on, and, it's not just a real easy hire the guy and then it comes in and does it. You have to manage all that. And I think having an integration professional to work with, to trust, that knows what that's all about, especially talking about the luxury side again. You've got to have that. So maybe that's what it is out there. If you're looking crystal ball 5 years out.
Right.
But I still think lighting is going to be a big part of it. It's all that stuff that really just kind of ingratiates yourself with that design build team, integrates with them. And I think it'll continue to sort of be less about the entertainment side, unfortunately, although audio is always a fun thing to be able to do.
Absolutely.
So many folks, even in the luxury space, they have like a Sonos, portable speaker, and they call it a day. It's not an easy thing to sell someone on, installed speakers and panels on the wall all the time. I think you get something like lighting, you're never going to not need that.
I want to lean into something you described there, which was the advent of power and network, as a crystal ball 5 years into the future. I think that really points to a few things that the integrator has to be ready for. Is number one, don't get comfortable doing the one thing. It's like you gotta be looking at other things. And again, even if we're talking about power and we're talking about alternative energy, we're talking about low impact construction. And that requires us to be able to provide some consideration around different style and design relative to that kind of construction. So it's different materials, it's different finishes, it's different, sustainability becomes maybe a bigger issue, in a lot of these locations. Now, I'm not talking about extreme high-end ultra luxury. I'm talking about everyday residential technology. And it's an opportunity if you really harness it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just having an awareness of what those trends are is really important for integrators. They don't need to be the expert. They partner with the experts who know the materials and the design preferences of their homeowner clients. Just being kind of engaged with that a little bit, though, is important, and having conversations with their interior designer, partners, their design build partners that they work with,
Yeah.
going into their showrooms, learning a little bit about what they do. I think that just kind of helps them to be
Right.
a better partner and to be more useful to their end user client as well.
We're seeing a lot of interest in showroom redesign right now. What started maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, sometimes even longer. I don't go in very many places that I don't hear, we're about to update our showroom. We're in the midst of a showroom update, or in some cases, we're building our first showrooms. This industry is on kind of a 5 to 6 year rotation of showroom updates. And I think everything you're talking about here is relevant for that. Now, as an executive editor of a widely followed publication, what what is your process, by which you sort of select your content, and how the content in terms of its relevance to your readers and to your followers, but also a little insight into how you guys operate your business. How do you guys pursue important topics for your readers?
Well, it's hard to get out into the world and experience things firsthand, budgets being what they are. But I do attend the buying group meetings. I attend CEDIA Expo, of course, and other events, and also big introductions. And so a lot of it's led by those conversations. You just kind of have your ear to the ground in terms of what those trends are. Our friends in the PR and marketing space really help us stay connected with a lot of things going on in the industry. So we're somewhat reactionary to that at times, but they play their role, we play our role. I studied journalism in college, got my degree in journalism, and so I came out of college with this attitude of PR people are going to try to sell you on something, you should be careful. And then
because you studied PR.
Yeah, and never be friends with the PR people.
Yeah.
And then I ended up marrying a PR person. So, absolutely don't. That was the other one. Absolutely don't date a PR person. And then I ended up marrying. So,
that can go so many places in a bad way.
yeah. But what you learn is that that they have a very important kind of connective role to play as well, and so they're really great and keep us up to date on things. But I just try to keep a balance of what all those different trends are in our publication. The podcast has been a great resource for us just to keep, having active conversations
like these.
Yeah. It sort of like forces you to really have your thoughts together, because it's going to be seen. You're not just hiding behind a notepad anymore.
Yeah.
And then you can use some of those insights in editorial. Then it's very, very, collaborative there. And so, it's very much about having conversations, talking to the integrators, trying to keep up with what they do. I have local integrators I do see every now and then. And it's great to get out and actually be a part of that. And having technology in my home and living with it has also been a huge thing that early on in my career, when I was living in New York in a small apartment, I didn't have that many opportunities to actually integrate, technology into my living space. When I moved into a house, I finally did. And you get firsthand experience with things that work or don't work, and having integrators come in and help you install something and seeing how they do their job, having them come back in and change things out. That really gives you a reality check about all these things that you hear about and theorize about, but when you live with it, it's a whole different thing. So it's a lot of different pieces that come together, and it's always a challenge for sure.
So, last question for you. I can't believe it. We're going to be marching down CEDIA like it's tomorrow. So we at Leon are already well in the CEDIA track in terms of our thinking. What advice would you have for people getting ready for CEDIA this year? What kinds of things has got you excited and or fired up, or asking questions about?
Yeah, I still haven't come to terms with how soon it really is, but I would say obviously what we talked about with lighting, and it's just become, when we were at Lightapalooza and you saw the maturity, even at CEDIA Expo last year, booths of lighting companies that just were like wow, we're at CD Expo. We don't know who these people are quite yet. We're going to put our fixtures out on a tabletop, and that's not an inspiring way to present your wares, at a trade show. To this past year, it's been these experiences at booths. You go in and you actually like live with the technology, like you do with audio at CEDIA for years. Seeing that, and then Lutron, who has been a big player in the industry forever, from lighting control, now with Ketra and lighting fixtures, they just like went the next level with their experience. So you're walking into like a spa space and all that.
I know.
So those experiences that you get on the floor, I think that's what you look forward to. Trying to recreate that design feel that you want. Not just looking at gear.
Right.
There's a lot of gearheads in our industry that makes them tick. Doesn't work for me. I want the experience. I want to like see how it works, and that's like a huge investment and in time and money for those companies to do that. But I think it's worthwhile to really inspire their partners, and doing all of that. And
totally agree.
We'll see like last year was a big AI introduction for the industry. I think we'll continue to hear that, whether it's AI for marketing purposes or actual use of AI. But I think we'll hear some of that too. So those are the things that I think about for the show.
I think you're right. I think there are going to be a lot of interesting things, I think to take a look at. And like you said, the lighting piece is fascinating. The Lightapalooza movement really underscored the kinds of relevance that it creates, broadly across the marketplace. And then, I do think experience economy is something that is going to move more aggressively into our space. Joe Pine's book about the experience economy really talks about the evolution of value and the acceleration of value. And so I think as technology companies, we provide tech, but integrators are where experiences are, literally assembled on behalf of customers. And there should be accelerated value upscale, in experience creation. And those are the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for who are the experience creators, who are the ones that are really innovating on the tech, but really doing it where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah, that's well said. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
All about the experience.
Well, thank you for joining us today on Leon Live. We got to do this again. We would definitely love to have you back. And thank you for being Jeremy Unscripted, Unplugged. It's fun to see the other side. We'll hopefully I see you before CEDIA, but it's only like 90 days out practically.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm sure it'll probably be probably be at CEDIA, but you never know. We could cross paths out there. So thanks so much for having me on, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. If you could just hang for a second.